There's a sacred truth many believers miss in the waiting seasons of life. Often, when it seems like heaven has gone silent and prayers echo back with no reply, we assume we've been forgotten or overlooked. But delay in the hands of God is not denial. It is divine design. It is the womb of transformation, the sacred place where the chosen are refined, matured, and strategically positioned. The delay is never random. It carries the fingerprints of a God who is too wise to be hasty and too faithful to fail. God's silence is often misunderstood as his absence, but in the hidden chambers of delay, he is doing his deepest work. If you are currently waiting on a promise, a breakthrough, or a long-awaited answer, do not be disheartened. There is a mystery unfolding in your life, one that will make sense only in hindsight. Heaven is not ignoring you. Heaven is incubating you. Here are 10 spiritually revealing reasons why God allows delays in the life of a chosen one. Each of these will not only shift your perspective, but also strengthen your resolve during your waiting season. Number 1. Delay prepares you for the weight of the promise. One of the most overlooked truths in the kingdom is that the promise of God carries weight. The anointing, the destiny, the calling, they all have spiritual mass. And if the vessel is not fortified to carry them, the weight can crush rather than bless. This is why delay is God's mercy. It is his divine gym where your spiritual muscles are strengthened. What feels like a waiting room is actually a training ground. Consider how David was anointed to be king as a young shepherd boy, yet he did not ascend the throne immediately. Years passed, years filled with wilderness, rejection, betrayal, and battles. Yet through it all, David was being trained not just to receive the throne, but to rule from it with wisdom. In 1 Samuel chapter 16, the oil flowed, but in 2 Samuel chapter 5, the crown was placed. Between the oil and the crown was a delay that made him ready. If God gave you the fullness of what you've prayed for today, would your character be able to sustain it? The delay is not punishment, it's preparation. It's shaping you into the kind of person who won't just enter the promise, but thrive in it. Number 2, delay burns out impatience and builds endurance. In the economy of heaven, endurance is a currency. The longer you wait in faith, the more heaven can entrust to you. Romans chapter 5 verse 3 reminds us that tribulation produces patience, and patience, experience, and experience, hope. Delay acts as a spiritual crucible, removing the impurities of impatience, entitlement, and haste. When God delays, it's not because he is unsure. It's because he's teaching you how to walk with him and not run ahead of him. He's teaching you how to trust his calendar rather than your clock. And this is not easy. Everything in the natural realm tells us to rush, to hustle, to strive. But spiritual maturity demands that we wait. Through the waiting, you learn the rhythm of heaven. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop questioning your worth based on timelines. Instead, you anchor yourself in the truth that God's promises never expire. Delay is not denial. It is divine discipline, growing your faith roots deep into the soil of trust. Number 3, delay reveals true motives. A delay from God has a way of exposing what lies beneath our surface prayers. When you ask for a blessing, is it for God's glory or personal validation? When you pray for promotion, is it to serve or to boast? Time has a way of purifying motives. God delayed the Israelites' journey into the promised land, not because he could not deliver it quickly, but because he needed to expose what was still in their hearts. In Deuteronomy chapter 8 verse 2, it says, God led them in the wilderness for 40 years to humble them and test them, to know what was in their hearts. The delay was diagnostic. It revealed who truly trusted him and who only followed him for what he could give. When your prayer goes unanswered, keep praying, but also start listening. God may be using the delay to ask you, why do you really want this? He is not cruel, he is kind. He delays not to deny, but to deepen your relationship with him beyond the surface. Number 4, delay protects you from premature exposure. Premature exposure is dangerous. Being seen before you're ready can open you up to attacks you're not trained to handle. God delays to cover you. He hides you in plain sight, not because he's hiding you from the world, but because he's hiding you for the world. Jesus himself waited 30 years before stepping into public ministry. In Luke chapter 3, he is baptized, and the heavens open, declaring him as God's beloved Son. But before that, there is no record of signs and wonders. Why? Because about us, there's power in hidden seasons. They protect you from premature warfare. Delay is God's security system. When he knows the attacks that would come with your promotion, he hides you until you are spiritually armored. The delay is not God being late. It is God being loving. Number 5. Delay aligns you with divine timing. Heaven has a calendar. God doesn't just do the right thing, he does it at the right time. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 11 says, "He has made everything beautiful in his time." Timing in the kingdom is just as important as content. You may have the right dream, the right calling, the right word, but if it's released at the wrong time, it can bring confusion instead of clarity. Delay ensures that all the pieces align. The right connections, the right doors, the right environment, they all fall into place during the delay. You're not waiting aimlessly, you're being synchronized with heaven. Sometimes God delays not because you're not ready, but because others involved in your assignment are not ready. Your destiny is intertwined with others, so when God delays, it may be for their growth too. Trust the timing, even when you don't understand the calendar. Number 6. Delay destroys the idols you didn't know you had. There are seasons when delay painfully reveals that what we truly wanted was not God's will, but our own version of happiness. In delay, God topples idols, idols of relationships, careers, validation, and outcomes. We begin to realize that our true joy must be found in Him and not in what He gives. Abraham waited decades for Isaac. The promise was real, but the wait was long. And even after receiving Isaac, God tested Abraham's heart again by asking for the very thing he waited for. Genesis chapter 22 shows us that even the blessing can become an idol. But through the delay, Abraham learned to love the giver more than the gift. If God has delayed something in your life, ask yourself, have I elevated this thing above my obedience to God? The delay is purging your desires, removing impurities, and realigning your heart to worship God above all else. Number 7. Delay deepens your discernment. In seasons of delay, your spiritual senses sharpen. You learn to recognize God's voice, not just His hand. You stop chasing quick fixes and begin to listen for the whisper behind the wind. In 1 Kings chapter 19, Elijah doesn't find God in the earthquake, the fire, or the wind, but in a still small voice. When you are delayed, you are forced to lean into God. You read His word differently. You pray differently. You fast, you seek, and you cry out with sincerity. And in that vulnerability, discernment is born. You learn to distinguish between good and God. Not every open door is from heaven. Not every opportunity is divine. Delay matures your spiritual eyes. Without delay, we would rush into everything that sparkles. But with delay, we begin to sense that not everything that glitters is gold. God is refining your discernment so that when He finally says go, you will know exactly where and how to move. Number 8. Delay humbles you before elevation. Before honor comes humility. Proverbs chapter 15 verse 33 makes this clear. God will not elevate those who are full of pride. Delay humbles you. It breaks the arrogance of self-reliance and causes you to depend solely on God. The longer you wait, the more you realize you cannot manipulate the outcome. You can't make doors open. You can't force people to favor you. You have to wait on the Lord, and that dependence fosters humility. Humility is not weakness, it is readiness. God exalts the humble, and delay is one of His tools for shaping humility in His chosen vessels. If He's delaying, He's humbling you, and if He's humbling you, He's preparing to elevate you. Number 9. Delay reveals who and what is truly for you. Not everyone in your current circle is meant to walk with you into your destiny. Delay reveals people. It unmasks motives. Those who are only attached to you for the promise will often fall away during the delay. Let them go. Jesus had crowds, but delay thinned them out. In John chapter 6, after a hard teaching, many disciples walked away. Delay tests loyalty, not just of people, but of principles. Do you still worship when the miracle hasn't come? Do you still serve when no one is clapping? Do you still trust when it looks like nothing is happening? In delay, God reveals who you are becoming and who must remain beside you. This is not cruelty, it is clarity. Number 10. Delay creates room for supernatural intervention. When all your options are exhausted, when no one else can help, when it's been too long and the door still hasn't opened, that's when God steps in. Delay removes all human solutions so that when the miracle comes, only God gets the glory. Lazarus was dead 4 days before Jesus arrived. In John chapter 11, the delay seemed like abandonment, but Jesus said, "This sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God." The delay was divine. It set the stage for a resurrection no one could deny. When God delays, He's preparing a stage that will testify of His power. You are not being punished, you are being positioned. Dear child of God, delay is never wasted in the kingdom. It is holy ground, a place where God does His deepest work in you before He does His greatest work through you. Do not rush the process. Do not resent the wait. You are being shaped in secret to be released in power. If you are in a season of divine delay, take heart. Heaven has not forgotten you. You are simply too precious to be released prematurely. Keep walking, keep believing, and when the time is fully come, you will see that the delay was not a detour, but destiny in disguise. Now, I invite you to reflect. What has God been teaching you in your waiting season? Let's build each other's faith. Share your experience in the comments and let's encourage one another as we wait for the appointed time.
Subscribe to this channel for more videos.